Assalamu alaikum and good greetings. So we will continue on watching the video featuring the interaction between David Wood, Sam Shamoun and also Anthony Rogers with Shaykh Uthman. From the original video, this is the part 2, the grand finale. But for my reaction, this will be part 4, I think. Right after the first video, we have to watch in 3 different sessions. So we will see about this one. This is basically 59 minutes. Perhaps it will become either 2 or 3 parts. But without further ado, let's watch.
أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم.
When I asked David, for example, could we say that God gets a wife and has sex and has children and things like that? You said that would be against the nature of God, right?
I meant like God just...
Yeah, so we're just talking about God.
Like,
yeah, I'll give you an example, right? And I think it'll clarify this, right? Do you believe God would have sexual intercourse with a woman?
I believe God has the power to do that if he wanted to, but he wouldn't want to because of his moral nature.
Thank you.
I agree with Anthony's answer that if God had decided after the incarnation to do that, then he'd be able to do
now
that sort of thing.
Now we're saying God could get married and have sex and have children.
I would say if God wanted to do that, and that was part of his eternal plan or something.
So let me
like
ask you. Let me ask you a simple question, right? Because let's say a guy comes up to you right now at Balboa Park, right? There's all kinds of religions here, right? And he comes and tells you, hey, God's married to my mom and has sex with her every night, right? For example, right? Would you believe that?
You want the answer?
Yeah, go ahead.
My answer would be this, and I think this is something that we should have been discussing already.
Excellent.
We believe that we don't know anything about God apart from God's own voluntary revelation of himself.
Excellent.
So we are all beholden to him, right? We are dependent on him for life and breath as well as anything we know about him. Right? And anything we know about him that's true is what he's told us. Anything we think we know independently of that is not something we can know to be true. Now, so what I'm getting at is, in the Bible, God revealed himself through the prophets and prepared the world for just what happened in the incarnation. When it says in Galatians 4, for example, that in the fullness of time God sent forth his son, born of a woman, made under the law, so that he might redeem those who were under the law, right? This is the point of the incarnation. When he says that, this happened in the fullness of time, he's saying that this is the outworking, the culmination, the fulfillment of what had been revealed through the prophets in long ages past. Among those passages that teach that, you have, for example, and I know you've heard some of these, Isaiah 9:6, that he would be the mighty God. Jeremiah 23:6 said that the child that would be born would be Jehovah our righteousness. Malachi 5:2 says that he would be the one whose origins are eternal, right? He has no beginning, no end. He's from of old. So those are the sorts of things that, for me, are necessary in order to adopt this belief, so that when he fulfills these things, I say, okay, that's the one who was announced. This guy popping up out of the middle of nowhere is not showing up in the fullness of time.
Okay.
He's not fulfilling prior prophecy.
Okay.
He's not doing the sorts of things that the Old Testament shows God could do. God appeared to Abraham in Genesis 18. God appeared to Moses in Exodus 3, to numerous prophets. In the Christian view, those things were not only not impossible for God, he revealed that these were possibilities and that they would be a future actuality when Jesus became flesh.
So, Anthony, with all due respect, that was just preacher mode, right? The question again is about that possibility. So if somebody comes and tells you that, right, other than saying that it's not in the Bible, right, which obviously it's not because this is post-Bible, would you say conceptually that makes sense, that God comes, got married to his mom, and hits it every night?
In principle, I've already answered you saying that the incarnation happened.
Okay.
God became flesh in the womb of Mary and was born of her.
So you're
and
saying
fulfilled the prophetic scriptures.
Okay.
You're asking me if some guy popped up out of the blue.
Yes.
I think it would be a natural reaction to that sort of thing if you don't have word from God, century after century, preparing the world for this very event.
Gotcha.
So when it happens, and then that man, on top of everything else, lives a perfect life.
So again, you're avoiding the question.
I'm not avoiding the question. This is the logic of Christianity. This is how
that's the problem.
Well, you think it's a problem, but you've yet to demonstrate it. You begged the question, but you haven't answered it.
Look, it's a very simple question, bro. And you're going all around it, right? The thing is, you know, and I know that, and David knows
Are
as
you gonna
well.
do a Jedi mind trick now?
No, you don't
okay.
see me
Go-
here.
go ahead.
Right?
You know, come on.
and
You
let's
know
be
your heart of
honest,
hearts.
right?
Let's be honest.
Let's be honest,
Ah,
right?
see?
If some dude walks up right now and tells you that, you're gonna be like, you don't know what you're talking about, right? You're gonna tell him God doesn't come and get married to your mom. You're just making this stuff up, right? This is something that is not in scripture. You would go into your whole thing, but you would not believe that because you know that's not the nature of God to be getting a wife here and a wife there and having kids here and half there. God is above all of that, right?
You're substituting beliefs to me, though. You're substituting
Can I
stuff.
add a
Go ahead.
possible example real quick? It's good because I think, well, let me give you an example. If someone came up to me and said that they have a time machine in their pocket,
Okay.
I would not believe it for a second.
Okay.
It's not because I don't believe it's possible. It's just I believe that's extraordinarily unlikely, and you would have to provide me with some very good evidence.
Excellent. Okay.
For that, right?
Good.
If someone came up to me and they said they have a square circle in their pocket, I would regard that as impossible.
Thank you.
So
We're with it.
yeah. So what
When you get with it, then
so
I'll give
notice
you.
those are two things. One is
Right.
it's extraordinarily improbable given everything else I believe.
Right.
That's one thing. And then there's things that I would just regard as possible. If you say, hey, there's a married bachelor over there, so I don't know what you're talking about. I don't know what you're talking about.
Exactly.
If you say,
okay.
But so anyway.
That's good. That's a good, excellent example.
If someone were to come up and say, something about someone being incarnate or something like that. No, we're Christians, so we believe in that revelation. We believe in the revelation we have,
Right.
so we don't believe that sort of thing is going to happen. So we would dismiss it on that. As far as
Okay.
if
So
we,
you would dismiss it on basically your belief.
yeah,
Okay.
No,
Okay. Hold on.
But not
Let
an
me respond to.
unjustified
Yeah,
Come
yeah,
on,
not
bro.
an unjustified.
Can I respond to him now, man?
Yeah.
Okay.
well, I wasn't finished.
Okay. Go ahead, David.
Yeah,
Yeah, don't interrupt.
Yes.
I'm not.
Yeah, so what I'm saying is, in other words, since we're Christians, we believe that God has sent his revelation and there's no more incarnations or anything coming along, right? So we would say, oh, we're Christians, we believe that. But if we weren't Christians and we were just saying, hey, if God has the power to do what he wants, if God wanted to enter creation and do this, our point is we wouldn't say, I reject that because it's an impossibility or a contradiction. We would say, that sounds really far-fetched, so you're going to have to give me some really good evidence. We wouldn't regard it as a contradiction. I know what Anthony's point, what he was saying about all this background knowledge and prophecies and so on, is he's saying we do have good evidence, and so that's why we would dismiss it. Because if someone just came along and said, "Hi, I'm Jesus. I'm the divine Son of God who entered into creation," we would say, "No, what are you talking about, man?"
Excellent.
If
Can I speak now, bro? Are you done? All right, thank you, Kim. So that is exactly the point. To me, as a Muslim, and this is what we're discussing here, to me, to say God is a part of the creation in the sense that he is human, that he goes to the bathroom, that he has to go to that he has those human flaws that Jesus would have had as a human being, not moral flaws, right? We're talking about just physical flaws that we have as humans. To me, is just like you saying a square circle. To me, I see no difference in that. It's apples and oranges, right? Humans, خُلِقَ الْإِنسَانَ ضَعِيفًا, right? Humans have these weaknesses, right? Even if you take Adam before the fall, right? Obviously, he had some inclination to make a mistake, and that's why he ate from the tree that he shouldn't have, right? So that means by nature, even before the fall, he had that weakness to make that mistake. But Allah doesn't. The Creator does not. The Creator does not cry out and say, my God, my God. See, this is a human attribute where you are calling out to your Creator, right? Now, if the Creator is God himself, he doesn't call out to himself. He doesn't say, my God. Like you never see the Father in the Bible saying, my God, right? David?
So, well,
let him, I asked David, bro. Anthony, take it. Is your name David? I said right, David?
So, when we were talking, he was just...
Oh, he made a point, so I was responding to his point, but you're going
He made a good point, I agree with you.
all right.
I'll take that as a response to me.
I was going to jump in with that.
Oh,
Another
okay.
example.
Okay.
Go ahead.
Oh yeah, so something that I don't know your beliefs about the Quran, and I'm not changing subject.
Did you get my question though?
Yeah, I've got
Okay.
it for like the last.
No, I just asked you a
the
question
last-
right now.
Yeah, it wouldn't make sense for the Father to cry out, my God, right? But
Why?
Apart from becoming incarnate.
Yeah, apart from becoming.
No, I'm saying for the Father.
Right.
Do you ever see the Father saying, my God?
He refers to the Son.
Can I? Man, David, you got like a recon to us or something? Like you pull strings?
Why are you so afraid to hear
I'm
a couple
not.
people?
I will talk to you.
It's not like I'm going to let you talk too.
I'm going to let him talk first, and then I'll talk to you. I've been talking to you this whole time. So the question, David, is: do you ever find the Father saying, "My God"?
He calls Jesus God.
My God?
No, if you're talking about Jesus crying out, "My God," you say no. The Father doesn't do that, right?
Okay.
We don't believe.
Gotcha. So the Father, then this is the nature of the Creator. He doesn't call out. He is the one you call out to. That's the nature of God. And the nature of humans is we have weaknesses, so we call out to our Creator. Right? This is the exact point you're missing. Right? Humans have those shortcomings, those needs, those necessities that the Creator doesn't. So the Creator doesn't call out and says, my God, why have you forsaken me? But a human would.
Yeah, and so this, yeah,
he was human.
Yeah, and so.
But he was God, you
said. I just wanted.
He became flesh.
But he was.
So that's the thing. I think the major contradiction, or rather the why for a Muslim, and I assume for most who are not a Christian, of course assumption, but like Shaykh Uthman said earlier about square circle, right? When we say God becomes weak and having needs and do this human things, it is like the square circle. It doesn't make sense. But for Christian, I think they accept that is possible. It is possible for God to choose to become weak, to become temporary, to become, because the incarnate point, right? Meaning that God, once he become human, he takes that weaknesses, etc. So now it is possible for God to be given birth to, etc., etc., etc. So I think that is where, when we say logical, for me, logically, that is already where I'm stuck with. Right? That doesn't make sense. So that's where I don't pursue further in terms of evaluating Christianity, because at the main core belief, it already, you got stuck there. But for Christian, because they accept, so that's the thing, right? I wonder if they were not born into it, or because some of them are not, right? But for those who are not born into it, how do you actually come to accept that it is possible for God to become that? How do you accept that? Because it is the first fundamental point where to allow for any other evaluation for Christianity, you have to get past that gate first, right? Because otherwise you cannot accept it. That's square circle. It's illogical, impossibility. But for Christian, they said no, God can choose to do that because God is all powerful. He can choose to be weak, right? So for me, that is a contradiction in itself. But for Christian, I think that's obviously, I think they will say, but that's the divine, the human nature and divine nature, etc. But still, that is so far-fetched.
It's completely God.
You don't realize you're begging the question.
No.
Yeah,
I'm making a very clear distinction.
So,
Go ahead.
So I don't know exactly what you believe about the Quran and the speech.
I believe in the
speech of Allah
Quran,
and
the
so on.
Kalam of Allah.
Yeah. But lots of Muslims tell me that Allah's speech is eternal, co-eternal with Allah.
Sure.
And this isn't. I'm not changing the subject here. This is an example. This is an example of what we're talking about.
I'm listening.
So, if the Quran is Allah's eternal speech, then if you were to say, hey, does it make sense does the Quran have a beginning? Something like that. I would say, no, if it's eternal, then it has no beginning.
You're right.
If you said, can it be corrupted? I would say, no, it's divine. It can't be corrupted, right? So if you were to ask these kinds of questions, I would say, as far as the eternal speech of Allah or an attribute of God, I would say, those kinds of things, it doesn't make sense to raise those kinds of questions, right? But if you were to say to me that we have a physical Quran, right?
Excellent.
This doesn't have the Arabic in it, but assuming this had the Arabic in it, that we have a physical copy of the Quran.
Excellent.
Then it seems like the physical copy of the Quran would kind of have two natures. It's the eternal speech of Allah, and yet it's entered our world because we have a physical world. It's entered our world as a physical book made of paper and glue and ink. And therefore, if you were to ask me, does it make sense to talk about this as having a beginning, or about this being corrupted and changed and so on, then I would say, yes, it's a physical book. Of course, it can fall apart. It eventually will. You mentioned earlier that people can eat it or burn it or all kinds of things. And so it makes sense to talk about a physical...
Weird people,
It makes sense to talk about a physical Quran. So, in other words, I would say that a book that has two...
The guys that laughing at the side, actually, because I think David Wood, is it him or is it prophet, apostate prophet or something that eat the Quran? So that's why when they said talk about eat the Quran, they were laughing.
Two natures, that it's the eternal speech of Allah entered into creation in a physical form so that we can have it. It now makes sense to talk about this having a beginning, and I'm assuming it has a publication date. So it now makes sense to talk about this having a publication date. It now makes sense. It didn't make sense before when you're talking about the speech of Allah before it comes into creation. Once it enters into creation, now we can ask these questions. But if I were to take your objection seriously, I would have to say, no, it's absurd to talk about these eternal things that can't be corrupted, being corrupted, being corruptible, having a beginning, having an end, falling apart. That makes no sense of the eternal speech of Allah.
Excellent.
Are you playing
Excellent.
Oh no, you guys don't do music. You don't do music.
No, I'll let you play the music for us. All right.
I don't know how to play music.
Come on, learn. All right. So now, excellent answer. I appreciate that. All right. So let's go to that now. Right. The Quran is Kalam Allah. Right? The Quran will never call out to Allah. Okay? Now, in the Quran, you will never say take it easy, 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 Anthony.
Is it true?
Hold it together, Crook. Hold it together. I will. Okay? The Quran itself is Kalam Allah. Right? The Quran responds to, for example, the Prophet ﷺ, right? But the Quran does not speak to Allah. It is the speech of Allah. Allah teaches us, for example, ad'iyah, which are called dua, supplications, for us to use to call to Allah, right? But let me finish, bro. Take it easy. Yeah, I got you. Okay, so now, when you say this has a publication date, none of us standing here as Muslims will say this is a part of the creator. Right? This here is a published book. That's why the Quran is recited and the Quran is revealed. It was never sent just like a book, right? Because then that book, once it hits the earth, then that would be part of the worldly things. That's why Imam al-Bukhari has a book called خلق الأفعال العباد, where he talks about the recitation or the paper or the ink is not what is Quran. Quran is what is revealed, and before the day of judgment it will be taken up, and that revelation can never be corrupted. That revelation is always preserved, and that revelation doesn't weaken. Do you understand what I'm saying? Now, when you talk about Jesus now, on the other hand, when you say that he came and he became human, but then at the same breath you say that he's always one, God is not divisible. So you're saying then that is God himself, even though he's human, and even though he is God, the Father and him are the same thing, but he's saying, oh my God, why have you forsaken me? That makes absolutely no sense.
Okay, great. So you've said the fact that Christ, the second person of the Trinity, the Son of God, by virtue of becoming human and crying out to the Father, that there's a problem with that, a logical problem, and that's not something that Islam has to deal with. Now, number one, I don't think that's a logical problem, but number two, I also don't think that's true Islamically. So I'd like you to tell me where I may have that wrong. I don't think I do.
You never know.
But I grant that you're the Imam, right? So, my understanding, which I have from other Muslims, which is part and parcel of why I hold that, and have read in the Islamic sources, that the Quran itself does intercede for Muslims, or will, on the Day of Judgment, right? The Quran will appear as a pale man and will say that it was the Muslim's companion in life and will intercede for him. Is that not correct?
Can you give me a reference for that?
That's in the hadith.
Which hadith?
Seriously, you don't think I'm going to go back? I mean, like, I don't know.
Are you saying that's not in the hadith?
That is not in any authentic hadith that I've ever read.
So you'd say it's not authentic.
Can I finish?
Oh, that's fine. If you say it's not authentic.
Hold on, take it easy, Anthony. So, to say the Quran will appear as a pale man And what did you say? It would be with
The Quran will intercede for Muslims and will say that it
as a pale man.
Well, that's in a Tirmidhi hadith, for example.
Let's just let's look for it. So no, hold on. Because see, I like to discuss on evidences. So if can I find a hadith in a Tirmidhi that says the Quran will be a pale man? Let's just find that, and then I will explain from there.
Okay, so, but that kind of misses the point that I'm making. You're focused on the pale man part, but
Excellent.
I think you and I both know that it's classically Islamic to say the Quran will intercede for you.
So let me explain the shifa of the Quran?
Yeah, yes.
Okay,
Explain it.
excellent. The Quran is kalamullah. Okay? What?
You told us that part.
I know, that's part of the explanation.
Okay,
Take it
go ahead.
easy, Anthony.
Okay.
Okay. The Quran that is read by us, right? I mean, when we read the Quran, that kalamullah will be a evidence for us. Do you understand what that means? That the fact that we stayed up at nights and read the Quran will make shifa. It will be an intercession. It will not be asking Allah for help or asking Allah separately than anything. It is only the fact that that good deed will be an intercession for you. Like if you had read the actual hadith, it talks about the Quran and another hadith about the siyam, the fasting. Right? We don't say fasting by itself is an entity, but it's the deed that is that intercedes for you.
So does the hadith say that the deed
Yes.
of reciting the Quran will intercede for you, or does the hadith say the Quran will intercede?
Again, so this is the thing. When you say Al-Quran was Siyam, these two will be shifa. They will be an intercession, right? So what does that mean? That it is that deed of reading the Quran. Do you understand what that means now?
I understand what you're saying.
Okay.
That's just not what.
So let's see the.
I searched for it. The first one that popped up, I know it's in Tirmidhi, but the first. I know it's in Tirmidhi, but the first. I know it's in Tirmidhi, but the first. I know it's in Tirmidhi, but the first one that popped up was in Ibn Majah.
So in Tirmidhi, there is no such hadith that says the Quran will be a pale man.
That's just the first one that popped up.
Okay, so can we look at the Tirmidhi one first?
Okay, I'll find the
I just
Tirmidhi.
want to see.
Notice the Ibn Majah version says the Quran will come on the day of resurrection like a pale man, and will say, "I am the one that kept you awake at night and made you thirsty during the day."
Excellent, excellent. So let's now go to. Hold on, take it easy, guy.
I was trying to. Oh, you're trying to see that.
No, take it easy. This is why.
You're not seriously going to go to Google Translate, are you?
Nope.
Oh, okay. I know you know
You're
Arabic.
funny.
I
You're
know
funny.
you know Arabic.
You don't have Arabic keyboard?
No.
Okay. I was just going to show you the takhrij. You know what takhrij is? Okay. The checking of the narration.
Okay.
This narration of Ibn Majah is a very weak narration.
They didn't grade it this week.
Can you show me their grading?
Yeah, it's in Hassan.
Let me see it. Go, just hit back.
It's in Arabic now.
You just ruined his phone. You can't see anything.
Oh,
English
he'll
now.
see it. Where does it say Hassan? No, this is Darus Salam's grading, right? So this is not sunnah.com, just a website. Okay? So
Darussalam.
Darussalam is a publishing house, right? But that's not the grading
They
of.
gave the rating according to Hadith scholars, right? They're not just making it up.
No. So we need to. I know this hadith, and that's why I was telling you, right? And I can show you the weakness in it if you like. Darussalam is a publishing house, not a scholar itself, right? Their grading by itself is not a hujjah, it's not an evidence. You have to look at the evidence from the scholars of hadith. Do you understand what I'm saying? That's why I asked you, right? Now, if you.
Now, it is interesting that it is because Shaykh Uthman, not to say coincidentally, but for this interaction, because perhaps it's the first time maybe they are interacting with someone that actually go into ilm hadith, right? The science of hadith. So that is basically the strength, the strong foundation of Shaykh Uthman. So he knows this stuff that, because I'm not in that field. I so in the ilm of the knowledge of hadith, it will be quite limited. So I cannot say much as Shaykh Uthman can in this topic. So this is where it gets interesting, because when they bring in hadith, you cannot. You cannot fool the Shaykh Uthman basically.
You like, and if you, how long are you in San Diego? Let me just finish. How long are you in San Diego?
We're leaving tonight.
Oh, nice. I was going to invite you to my house. I have Ibn Majah.
I appreciate the fact
Look,
that you would have invited
you got dinner, you got tea, I got you. All right. And I would sit with you and explain to you from the Sharh of Ibn Majah why this hadith is da'if actually. Because I teach Aqidah and I taught this subject. Okay? In the authentic narration, and again this is not in a Tirmidhi by the way anyway. Let me see the Tirmidhi riwayah you have, right? You said you had a Tirmidhi riwayah?
So I
I have to search for it.
I'll wait for it. In the authentic narration, it does not mention the pale man. That's why I was trying to explain to you. Rather, the Quran and its shifa is from the one who stayed up at night. So the shifa is the Quran asking intercession from the deed of you staying up nights. Do you understand the understanding there, right?
Yeah.
Now, when you look at Jesus calling out on the cross according to the Bible that you believe in, right? Saying, oh my God, why have you forsaken me? That is not about a deed that you did. That is one entity calling out to another entity for help and asking, why have you forsaken me? Is that correct or wrong?
So that you know, I'm not saying I have any problem with that. I absolutely affirm that.
So you
the second
affirm
person of the Trinity took on a human nature.
So he was no
and by
longer God.
No, he was both God and man, and by virtue of the incarnation was able to call out to the Father as God.
Okay, so I want to understand that.
I wasn't trying to give an apology.
Okay, so I want to understand.
absolutely affirm that.
Okay, so let me understand what you affirm. You're saying Jesus came to earth and became a man.
Absolutely.
So was he that all-powerful, all-being, has no needs God at that time or not?
He was both God and man.
Again, that's like a square circle,
You
right?
can say that's like
because
a square
because God has no needs, right?
As his divine nature. So think of it
Okay.
this way. I mean, it's not that hard, really.
It is hard because it's confusing. It's like a square circle.
You're asserting that it is. But
To me, it is.
there hasn't been a demonstration of that. What I'm getting at is
Yeah, it is. It is. Because I'm not sure what the mental picture that Christians have when they say, no, God is still one, have the divine nature, but it's also fully man with the weak nature of creation. I mean, what I can understand as a phrase to comfort you that you can say that, but what do you mean? What is the understanding there? Because it of course that statement have to be there to justify for many things, because if you say that Jesus is God in the essence of God, then all of those examples cannot happen. Why he's calling out to God, why we have the weak nature, etc. So yeah.
is as God. So as an example, you think man has a soul, man has a body.
Yes.
Right? Your soul and your body are not the same thing. They're both you.
True.
We don't want to get into a whole tangent here.
I'm with you.
But
Keep
there are
going.
things that are true of you bodily that aren't true of you in terms of your soul or spirit.
Okay.
Right? If your body dies, does your soul die?
No.
No. As Christians, we believe Christ is both God and man, just like man is body and soul.
Okay.
Right?
Does it mean that the soul part is the God part?
Man has those two constituent elements.
Let me.
But so all I'm saying is, although the attributes of Christ as God are such as he is omniscient, omnipotent, omnibenevolent, all of these things, his human attributes and qualities are most definitely character. He's in one place at one time. He gets hungry. He slept. He wept.
Did he go to the bathroom?
He absolutely did.
God went to the bathroom.
God became flesh
And went to the bathroom.
dwelt among us, and
Did he get diarrhea?
Secured self. He died on the cross. What more do you want?
That's pretty.
What more do you want than that, huh?
You are Muslim, aren't you? This is a
Died on the
secret,
cross.
right?
You're
He got
looking-
tortured. Yeah.
Absolutely.
God
His
got
beard plucked
tortured.
out, his beard
Oh.
plucked out, his
Ooh.
back was whipped.
Gotcha.
Huh? Yeah.
And he
gets
cried out to
aggressive.
who?
He cried out to his father.
But he didn't say Father. He said God.
But
He
his
said,
father
"My
is
God."
God. That's
But he is God.
yes.
That
He
doesn't
is-
make sense now.
Now
Again,
you're saying it doesn't make sense.
that doesn't
But
make sense.
We already talked about that
No,
earlier.
and it didn't make sense earlier.
No.
But let me.
Well, then it doesn't make sense to say Allah has sifat.
Of course it does.
No.
Allah's
You can't say
sifat
of
are a
course.
part of Him.
How, from the very beginning, from the first part, right? He kept trying to make the equivalent of the three person of God in Christianity to Allah have sifat. What Allah have sifat? If you explain it even to a kid, you can understand it, right? Allah have attributes, but this issue of how is Jesus God, fully God and fully man at the same time, right? If you try to explain to an innocent kid that will see if they cannot understand the concept, right? It is such a bizarre concept, to be honest.
Allah part of the Father.
But Allah's sifat don't separate. Allah's sifat don't need to go to the bathroom.
Allah's sifat.
Go ahead.
You believe that the Quran is the
Again,
instantiation in some sense?
I just told you earlier.
No, I heard what you said.
No, you didn't.
I did.
No Muslim says that this right in your hand is a part of Allah.
Well, first of all, that's not even in Arabic.
Exactly. So for you to lift this up doesn't make any sense, right?
But you knew what I meant.
I do.
This represents that.
And I will tell you, as I told David, when you didn't listen, I guess, but I'll say it again. You guys want to be? All right.
No, I'm listening to you, but I'm also finding what you wanted, because I can get it really quickly.
Okay. So now the issue gets to be the sifat of Allah are a part of Allah. Even if Allah reveals, you understand the difference between revealing and becoming separate, right? The sifat of Allah never have weaknesses. You can burn the written copy because that's not the Quran. The Quran is what is recited. It cannot be corrupted. Somebody can make a mistake in their reading, but their reading is not the sifat of Allah. Now Jesus saying my God
Jesus' human nature is not part of his divine essence.
Okay, so that's the confusing part here, because you're saying that the soul is a part of me. Without the soul, I can't exist. Right?
Okay, so this is okay. I think we'll stop here and we will watch the remaining in the next part, inshallah, because I think I'm not sure whether it will shift topic, but I think I will stop here for this one, for my fourth part of the reaction, and inshallah we will have the fifth part to end the whole remaining session, inshallah. So what have you got so far, right? And especially if you are a Christian, because throughout the way normally I don't remember what I asked throughout my reaction here, but if you can share your thoughts and opinion as well as your belief with regard to what I asked throughout the video, please do so. Like to learn what you believe in. Until the next one, thank you for watching. See you next time.